and they have been compelled to sell the business because it's the same business, same meat, including beef and buffalo meat, is being sold or handled by a non-Muslim. Nobody would raise an eyebrow, but if it's a Muslim, then any kind of meat, even lamb meat or even the goat meat, is looked upon with suspicion.
Even so, despite these policies, despite the damning Sachar Committee report, this idea and this narrative persists that, Muslims are pampered in this country. I mean, the Sachar Committee report clearly shows that economically they are likely to be more disenfranchised than the SC/ST communities in this country. And of course, there are SC/ST communities within, the Muslim community as well. But even then, this thing doesn't go away, right? Like, they've been pampered by the state. They've been pampered by the state. But sir, I want to come to you, Qureshi sir, for a minute while we're talking about economic disenfranchisement, because, not only does your book talk about why the sort of Muslim population myths are just that, myths, you also explain the other factors that we can use as lenses to understand the facts and figures that you present, right? Like, for example, one of the facts is that most states, majority of states in India today are in fact below replacement rate, right? So worrying about any population, overtaking any population is absurd. And that can be correlated with whether states are poor or not poor. Or when we look at where the birth rate is the highest, they tend to be states that are poorer. And it's not about how much the Muslim population is in that particular state. So can you talk about the role economic disenfranchisement plays in keeping the Muslim community where it's at, and also perhaps explaining some of the facts and figures that are misappropriated and misused when it comes to the community?
Spreading rumors for the sake of creating communal situation is, again, I would say, one part of it. The other is to set in motion some sort of economic degradation of the community, because Muslims are preponderantly, especially in southern parts of the country, not just in North India, but even West Bengal and Tamil Nadu, Muslims are preponderantly dependent upon trade pertaining to cattle, whether it's meat or it's the byproducts of cattle, like leather. So if you create a vicious atmosphere around this business, then a lot of Muslims would be forced to either shut down their businesses or sell them. I have seen both of these happening. There has been a huge exodus of leather traders, tannery owners and leather tanneries from UP to West Bengal. And similarly, a lot of Muslims who were into the meat processing business, and these are those ancillary units, they supply to big exporters. A lot of them have sold their businesses, and they have been compelled to sell their business because it's the same business, same meat, including beef and buffalo meat, is being sold or handled by a non-Muslim. Nobody would raise an eyebrow, but if it's a Muslim, then any kind of meat, even lamb meat or even the goat meat, is looked upon with suspicion. And we have seen cases, and for a message to be sent to the Muslims, all you need is one lynching. As we saw the first incident of Akhlaq in my neighborhood, right here next to where I live in Noida. The police, by filing the case against the family to verify the meat, the message was being sent that whatever it is, whichever meat it is, law may take its course, but the immediate justice would be meted out by the mob. And the mob is no longer faceless, which is what makes it even more frightening, because now you can't say that, I don't know, it was a big crowd. Now you know who exactly is part of the mob. People who are part of the mob now own up to being part of the mob. They make videos, they post it on social media. Politicians accept them or garland them. So now it's no longer a faceless mob. So the message that is being communicated is of, it's a very deliberate message that these are the things where you will be targeted. So if you have to protect yourself, your life, your livelihood, find something else to do. Then a community which is not doing anything, where the education level is so poor, most of them are self-employed in family trade. For them to make the switch is not easy. People who have sold their family businesses actually are now sitting idle because for them, they can't switch to something else and they cannot get jobs because they're not qualified for a job. So that is the economic aspect.
If you've enjoyed the conversation that you just heard, do subscribe to our channel for much more.